tip of my tongue. There's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I'll fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. There's mud on the floor, desperate people trying to get through the door, although the room's already crowded. But I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. Zeros, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. And keep trying again. I'll keep shining over you all. With your wings entwining, you better face the fall. Zero, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. Are you okay? I'm not that sure. Forever young, or am I faking? On the tip of my tongue, there's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I'll fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. There's mud on the floor, desperate people trying to get through the door, although the room's already crowded. But I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. Zeros, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. And keep trying.
Hello and welcome back to the Great Lakes Truck Series. Here we are in week 13 here in the Poconos at Pocono Raceway. And here I am in the booth with Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
We're doing all right. We're at the place I consider my home track, so I'm in to see how these guys handle this place tonight. I'm a big fan of this racetrack, and I'm expecting some decent racing.
This should be a fun one. Just a couple of races until we get to the playoffs. We only have Pocono, Indianapolis, and Chicagoland. And then we go playoff racing. But first off, we go here at Pocono for 65 laps. Should be a great time. Alex, what are you looking forward to today with today's race?
What I'm looking forward to is a lot of drafting, a lot of side-by-side racing, and guys just having to manage the draft to get through the field because it's going to be difficult tonight. If you start racing side-by-side for too long, you'll lose the guys out in line in front of you, so we'll have to watch out for that.
It looks like they're about to pull off pit road. Starting on the pole for today is the number 4 of Jake Miller, and then on his outside is going to be the 41 of Matthew Durr. That is your row number 1 for today's event.
The second row, we got R.J. Williams and Hunter Brittle.
Row number 3 on the inside. Last time they were at Pocono, Eliot Henderson was your winner, and he's racing in the 03 today. And then on his outside in the number 11 is Christopher Heller.
Right behind them is the 37 of Steve McLean and the 24 of Ashton Lawson.
In row number 5 on the inside, and the number 42, we have Brandon Barkuski, and on the outside, we have Brandon White.
Following them is the 92 of Michael Senzi and the 30 of Daniel Nanny.
Row number 7, we have Ty Aiken on the inside. On the outside, and the number 99, we have Ryan Potter.
Row 8 is the 13 of Lewis Woodall and the 49 of Shane Neiswanger.
In the next row on the inside, and the number 27, it's William Barbagelata, and on the outside, we have Ross Brockman.
Speeding it up a little bit, we got the 39 of Justin Mons and the 9 of Hunter Madalinas.
Next row, we got Gavin Fitzgerald and Kyle Hall.
Following them, the 17 of Samuel Hoff and the 56 of Kevin Wadler.
Next row, we got Dustin Visser and Aiden DuPont.
Eric Kepf and Matt Daniels round out our qualifiers as the rest of the field didn't make qualifying effort. 91 Austin Moore, 97 Aaron Duclos, 76 Anderson Bowen, 28 of James Shiflett, but we're going green.
Pace car pulls down pit road, and Jake Miller, a good start to the race, gonna have around a 2-car length advantage over R.J. Williams. And R.J. Williams and Matthew Durr are gonna battle it out for the second spot, but Hunter Brittle, he's gonna follow in right behind R.J. Williams. R.J. Williams is gonna clear Matthew Durr before they even get to turn 1.
R.J. Williams with a great maneuver to pull into that second position and get in line very quickly. They're racing side by side for the third position. They're gonna have to be careful of that. I think Hunter Brittle
way down low. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think he might have gotten into the inside wall. The number 27 went flying down low.
Yeah, William Barbagelata has blown an engine. He's smoking down the back straightaway. I think that'll end his night already. Lap 1, turn 1.
Just throw that excitement straight out the window because Mr. Excitement's up in smoke. You hate to see it this early up in the race. But they're going to continue on here on lap 1, no caution. And the top 3 are kind of beginning to make a little bit of distance. But here comes Eliot Henderson already trying to make moves up to the front. I mentioned it. Last time they were at Pocono last season, Eliot Henderson was your winner, leading 23 laps. Let's see what he can do here today in the 03 machine.
We've also got a few drivers on pit road already. The 00 of Aiden DuPont, Anderson Bowen in the 76, Matt Daniels in 25, and Lewis Woodall in the 13 all came down pit road after what I believe is an incident following in turn 1, lap 1. We may have to look at that because that's a lot of cars to get involved.
Yeah, a lot of drivers came down pit road. Lewis Woodall.
Oh, there's a driver really loose coming out of the tunnel turn. Gavin Fitzgerald almost lost it. He saved it on the apron.
Very interesting start to this race here at Pocono. A lot of excitement already going on here today. But we're still green here on lap number 2. Already some madness here in the Poconos.
We've already got a couple people losing out tonight. Really early in the race, a lot of big mistakes. That's the thing with this racetrack. This track's difficult. It's misleading. You expect it 2.5-mile racetrack. It's big. You got a lot of space, but when you actually get into the corners, suddenly you're pushing really badly, trying to slow down for it.
Watching some of these drivers begin to gap each other, but there's a lot of good battles going on around this racetrack right now. Number 17 is Samuel Hoff. You just watched him pass by, having a good start to this race. Ross Brockman looking for some points here today, the number 52 machine. And right behind him is Eric Kep, coming fresh off a win at Daytona in the Cup Series. Let's see what he can do today. He's already moved himself up a couple of spots since the beginning of this race.
Yeah, that's got to be quite the confidence booster, winning in the what would be the premier series of this league and the Cup Series, and a pretty dominant one at that. He's got to be feeling good going into this event. Doesn't have the greatest starting spot with the 27th spot, but he's already up 5 positions from 27th to 22nd, so he's already doing a good job 4 laps into this race.
Good start from Eric Kep. Kevin Watler right behind him. You see him in the 56 machine. Then Aaron Duclos, the number 97, looks to be driving a Mountain Dew throwback this week. Aaron Duclos looking to turn some of his luck around that he's had this season.
Trying to look around the racetrack for some battle. Looks like a lot of drivers starting to single file out and starting to keep themselves steady for position. This battle that we're watching right now is actually the battle highest out on the racetrack, as driver just disappeared there for a second. Aaron Duclos kind of blinked out. You have to be careful of that one.
Good racing back here. Some racing up here at the front as well. I'm looking at Ashton Lawson now, and with Ty Aiken, it looks like they're going neck and neck through 1 and 2. Brandon White, he's going to complete the pass on Ashton Lawson, it looks like, as well. That low line just looks so much faster through turn 1 right now, and both of them were able to clear him going through turns 1. Now they're about to come into the tunnel turn. Let's see what can happen here. Ashton Lawson all over Brandon White going into the tunnel turn, but he's going to back off a little bit, and Brandon White, now he's driving up on Ty Aiken. A good start to the race for the number 86 machine of Brandon White.
Is that something I've noticed about with these trucks versus the Cup cars at this racetrack, is because they don't have the power to really get up and go off the corner. If you're unable to keep momentum because you're stuck behind somebody in dirty air, you're not going to have as easy of a time to catch back up to them on the straightaway, even though we do have pretty high drag. So the drivers out front actually do have a slight advantage versus if they were in Cup cars today.
I'm really looking at these front 4 guys. They've been getting closer and closer these last few laps. I've especially been watching that 0-3 of Eliot Henderson. At the beginning of this race, he's looked really fast. He's been moving his way up already, and now he's beginning to challenge for that 3rd spot. He's all over Matthew Durr coming into the tunnel turn. I think he had the speed to make the pass possible going in there, but it's a little early to really try to force it neck and neck going through the tunnel turn. That can become travesty real quick going through that turn. You see Christopher Heller in the number 11 machine. He's pulling up on these 4 drivers as well now.
Yeah, the big trouble is if you can't open up your exit in that corner, especially as you would be running the bottom lane, it's going to create a problem for you trying to pass. As I've seen many, many times before, drivers will try and pass on the inside and then just get trained around the outside because they can't go out wide because there's a car there.
And this is I'm watching this battle in the back right here. Big time battles are going on right back here with Sam Hoff, Kyle Hall. A lot of good drivers back here. Shane Neiswanger, Justin Mons. Some pretty big battling going on back here. Pretty big separation. There's like 2 distinct halves of the pack, halves of the field right now, I mean. This is that second half of the field it's looking like right here, led by Shane Neiswanger, as these guys have a little bit of a gap from themselves to the first half of the field.
Well, we've got a bit of battling for the 6th position up here between Barkuski, Brittle, Senzi, and all these guys kind of stacked up on top of each other. It's a big cluster up here.
Yeah, big cluster of guys here. Brandon Barkuski's going to take the spot from Brittle. Moves himself up to the 6th spot. Brittle in the 7th spot. And here comes Brandon White on the inside of Ty Aiken in the number 86 machine. He's had a good start to today's race. Let's see if he can maybe try to get past Ty Aiken. That inside lane has looked a little quicker through turn 1. Not able to get through the corner that well, and Ty Aiken's had actually clear him off the corner. And here comes Daniel Nanny approaching this battle now as well in the number 30 machine. as he's made a couple passes the last few laps, and now he's going to dive it low. What a move from Daniel Nanny. He's going to get underneath Brandon White, and he might try to clear him off the corner, and he will. Great move from the number 30 machine to get another spot, and Brandon White looked like he might even gotten into the wall a little bit right there.
Well, now we're starting to reach the point in the run where the bottom lane starts to suffer some because you don't have the grip in the tire to really carry the speed through the center of the corner. And now this outside lane is starting to come in if they're racing side by side or even just running a normal line. This outside lane is coming in. So as these guys keep going and going, that outside lane is just going to get stronger and stronger as that bottom really goes away, because right now you got Senzi trapped on the bottom as cars are just able to kind of train around his outside.
All this battling going on back here. We missed a pass up here for the third spot. Both Henderson and Heller were able to get past Matthew Durr, and Matthew Durr is now falling back to the 5th spot. Now you're seeing it on your screen. Henderson and Heller, they're beginning to charge down this top 2 of Jake Miller and RJ Williams, who have been within 2 car lengths of each other since the beginning of this race. There you see our 2 leaders. Jake Miller's led the race since the green flag, but RJ Miller, like I said, he's been right there ever since the green flag dropped as they're approaching lap number 10. Still a long race. We're still very early on here.
We had some sketchy happenings coming off turn 3 there between
Lawson and Sensi look like some close encounters back there. There you see Lawson with Brandon White and Michael Sensi. Both of them kind of dive down low. Looked like Lawson might have thrown the block on Sensi. Couldn't quite tell from that angle, but they both dove down low. These guys are all lined up right now. Lawson, Brandon White, he's looking really, really good to me. I'm enjoying this because Brandon White, he works real hard. He's worked hard all season. Even if he's really struggling and his laps down, he's still out there putting in laps. No matter where he finishes today, I'm going to remember what he's doing here at the beginning of this race. He's doing very well as he's in front of Sensi right now. Sensi's been one of the strongest drivers all season. He's trying to get to Ashton Lawson. He's not too far behind him. He's only 2 truck lengths behind Ashton Lawson. Here you see Eric Kep back here with Aaron Duclos. Still battling back here. These drivers have been battling ever since the drop of the green flag. Eric Kep, Kyle Hall, Aaron Duclos, Kevin Watler, Steve McLean back here as well. And Steve McLean looked like he'd fallen back here. He was up earlier in the, further up in the pack earlier in the race. I'm not sure what had happened to him. It looked like he had lost a few spots in the number 37 machine. But you see it on your screen. Eric Kep continues to make up spots. He started, I think, 27th, and he's already up to 19th. He's doing very well here at the beginning part of this race. But Lawson and Nanny continues to move his way up. Now he's going to get past both Lawson and Brittle, it looks like, as well. He's going to maybe try to charge up through the field. He's been looking really good ever since the drop of the green flag, Daniel Nanny. Right and now behind Ty Aiken and Brandon Barkuski. Brittle's trying to stay in front of Lawson, you see. Lawson looks a little quicker right now, but can't quite find a way to his inside. Now he's going to get a challenge from Sensi. It looks like Sensi's going to think better of it as they're approaching the tunnel turn. Everyone just seems real nervous about that tunnel turn being really early in this race. No one wants to cause anything or force anything this early on in the race in the tunnel turn. Go back to our leaders here. It looks like that Jake Miller is beginning to actually finally pull away a little bit from RJ Williams. This is the biggest gap I've seen since the drop of the green flag. You see it right there. Jake Miller has pulled away a couple car lengths on RJ Williams, but Eliot Henderson, he's the quickest out of these drivers right now in that number 03 machine. He ran the last time it was actually Miller, but the time before that, Henderson's been driving these drivers down. And Heller's not too far off these drivers as well. Matthew Durr's beginning to fall back a little bit, but he still has a good gap to 6th place. Now there's a battle for 6th as it looks like Ty Aiken's going to get a big push from Daniel Nanny. Almost a bump draft right there going into the tunnel turn, and Barkuski's going to lose some spots, and Hunter Brittle was trying to attack that as well, but it did not work, and now he's going to be stuck on the inside. And Lawson's going to get past him. Now Sensi's going to jump to his outside going into turn 3. This is a good battle right here. It looks like Sensi's going to clear him off the corner, and he will. Now Lawson, he's going to attack the other Jeff Gordon car, Brandon Burkuski, the 24 versus the 42. Lawson's right underneath him. He's going to try to make this pass through turn 1. At the beginning of this race, that inside lane was so much stronger. Oh, contact, it looked like a little bit there. They're able to keep it straight, and they're still going to be neck and neck coming into the tunnel turn, it looks like. The 24 and the 42. This is a good battle. Lawson's going to stay to his inside. Burkuski stays up high. Can he stick up there while Lawson clear him? Still neck and neck. This is a fantastic battle. But now Lawson will jump in front, and Burkuski might try the crossover. Not going to quite work for him. Lawson's going to stay in front, but Burkuski's all over his bumper. And this might be a battle to continue to watch. And I'm going back to the front again. It looks like I'm hearing just chatter on the radio. It sounded like RJ Williams got a little bit into the wall. It looks okay to me. He's still right there behind Jake Miller. Just listening over the radio, it sounded like he might have gotten a little bit into the wall, but he's still right there on Jake Miller. So it might be something to watch on the longer run. But Henderson and Heller continue to close in on this front 2 drivers of Miller and Williams. I check these times at the line because it looks like just by watching this one lap, I'm just watching RJ fall back just a little bit from Jake Miller. So I feel like that this is one of those tracks where even a little bit of damage is going to affect you. So I'm interested to see what these times are at the line. I'm going to look at Miller's time first. Jake Miller with the 56.55, RJ with the 56.77, Eliot with the 56.59, and Heller with the 56.46. So Heller by far the quickest, but you saw it right there. RJ Williams is around 2 whole tenths slower than these other guys in the front 4 right now. So interested to see what happens here over the next couple of laps. Here comes Heller. Heller has a run on Henderson. What a move from Heller. Henderson's going to give him the space, it looks like, and Heller's going to clear him out of the tunnel turn. I'm thinking, no. Henderson backed off early so he can get a huge run off the corner, and he will. He was able to barely stick at his quarter panel. What a move from Henderson. Able to fight off Heller, at least for that corner. And Heller is going to dive it in there, and Henderson's going to maybe try to cross him over. Can he get the run off the turn? No, he will not. Not big enough to at least pull a crossover move. And Heller will complete the pass and move into the 3rd spot. You watch it on your screen. Jake Miller still leading the field in the number 4 machine. Mobile 1 on the hood, and he's looking real strong here early. Once again, Jake Miller. RJ Williams right behind him in 2nd. You got Christopher Heller in 3rd. Eliot Henderson in 4th, and Matthew Durr still hanging out in the 5th spot. I'm going to actually send it away for a quick commercial break before we go into pit stops, because we're going to be having pit stops, I'm thinking, around 4 or 5 laps.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and T. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you could only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
And we're back. You saw it on the side-by-side. Unfortunately, I timed that commercial break wrong, and they all decided to battle for the lead, and that was an insane battle. It was 3 wide for a moment, and Christopher Heller ended up taking the lead in the number 11 machine. Had such a huge run off of turn number 1, and ended up making it 3 wide on Jake Miller and RJ Williams, and has taken the lead and hasn't looked back, as he has the biggest lead that anybody has had all race, and he just took the lead in the number 11 machine as we approach pit stops here in a couple laps, because I was told the pit window is between 21 and 23 laps for tonight's race. So I'm interested to see when we're going to see some of these guys come to pit road. And now that I'm thinking about it a little bit, Alex, maybe when those drivers came in at the very beginning of the race, maybe that was to top off fuel, because that would be that was the closest they were going to be to the leaders. Maybe it was just to top off fuel so they can only have to pit 2 times, because it's going to be really close to pit 2 times if you didn't pit on that opening lap with those drivers, now that I think of it.
Well, if you think about it, they're only pitting 1 lap later. They're not gaining a huge advantage on fuel, and with a fuel window as we expect to be 21 to 23 laps according to our drivers here tonight, that would still pretty much split up this race by 2 pit stops. So honestly, I would say they just made an extra pit stop just to repair damages. As we see a driver coming down pit road, Samuel Hoff took a hard left down pit road from the 20th position. That's our first taker for the night on lap 20. A little bit early, but still could possibly split this race up into 2 pit stops from this point on. Oh, and Brandon Burkuski's in as well. Oh.
I'm hearing chatter on the radio that some drivers are going to make their pit stop this time by. We're currently on lap number 21. So if you can maybe make it the distance. You're really gonna have to save a little bit to make it the distance from here. I feel like the best time to pit would probably be on lap 22 or 23 if you can make it to that point. And watching our leaders, Eliot Henderson comes down pit road. Jake Miller, he hops down pit road, it looks like, as well. Most of the other leaders are going to stay out an extra time around, which I think is the best move, because I feel like drivers like Henderson that just came down pit road, I don't know if they can make it the whole way if we go green on one more stop. I mean,
yeah, they're gonna have to stretch it a little bit, but I still believe that from this point onwards they can make it on just one more stop. They just have to make this at least a 22 lap stint, and they should be able to make it, but it may require a little bit of fuel saving.
Interested to see which leaders come down pit road this time. Whatever drivers stay out and are able to make it to lap 23, I think those are the guys to really watch, as they're probably going to make it the whole way on fuel with just one more stop. I'm watching right now, and it looks like our race leader Heller comes down pit road. RJ comes down pit road. Matthew Durr stays out though. Matthew Durr in the number 41 machine is the farthest up in the pack to make it to lap 23, and I think that's really big, because I think lap 22 it's very close. But lap 23, you can definitely make it the whole way on one more stop if you make it to lap 23.
Yeah, the real big risk of not stretching your fuel out as far as possible is if we get a green-white checkered, it's pretty much going to require everybody to pit if we do make it to the second green flag pit stop. So, but these drivers who make it to lap 23 before they pit, they may be able to just stay out if they're saving fuel the entire time and do those extra couple laps with the extra track position. Yes, they'll be injured on tires, but this is Pocono, where tires are not as big of a deal as, say, a place like Atlanta.
A lot of these leaders are going to come down pit road this time. The drivers that are able to make it to lap 23, you got Matthew Durr up here, Ty Aiken, Daniel Nanny, Hunter Brittle, Brandon White. Those are the drivers I really feel like you have to watch for the rest of the race, because they're not going to have to save any fuel. They can just pit one more time and they can make it. These drivers that pit on lap number 21 and lap number 22, they're going to have to at least save a little bit of fuel if they want to make it to the finish. It looks like Sensi has stayed out even one more lap just to be sure. Goes to lap number 24. Michael Sensi in the number 92 machine. And caution! Oh man! There's a caution on the speedway! Oh, this is insane. This is going to change everything.
At most tracks you would think, oh man, Sensi hit the gamble, he nailed it, but this is Pocono Raceway. You can pit without losing a lap. So all this is going to do for Senzi is he's going to have to pit, and he'll be at the back of the field to receive Justin Mons backwards in the middle of the corner. I believe that's the... Is that turn 1?
Tunnel turn.
Tunnel turn, ah yes. Trouble corner. I've seen a couple issues happen there today already. And finally one of them brought out a caution.
Hate to see it. Justin Mons and the number 39 machine goes around. You hate to see it. We're going to try to get a replay here for you of Justin Mons. He's had such an unlucky season. One of the fastest drivers all year. Here you see him on the outside of Shane Neiswanger than the 49. Just a little bit of contact. Both of them kind of going for the same spot. Contact there. It looked like that was James Shiflett in the number 28. Got him pretty hard in the door. So some pretty decent damage for the 39, but Shiflett, that's race-ending damage for him. That's really going to hamper his race.
Yeah, that's just a problem corner. Going in side by side in that corner is the most difficult one on the track because of its just sheer high speed. I mean, when they were designing this track, they designed that corner to mimic Indianapolis, the oval in Indianapolis. And if you've driven that track, you already know how difficult it is to go too wide through that. So essentially, it's just doing the same thing at this racetrack, but somehow almost faster because you're coming out of turn 1 with a long straightaway. And clearly it just knocked these drivers out this time around.
Well, some of these guys are actually going to get caught a lap down. They're going to be able to get a wave around, actually. But it looks like you have Lewis Woodall that got caught a lap down. Looks like Hunter Madalinas in the number 9 got caught a lap down. Oh, wait. Look, I'm hearing on the radio, Michael Sensi, your race leader, he's out of gas. He is coasting to pit road right now in the number 92 machine. He's going to make it. But wow, he's coasting to pit road in the number 92 machine. But as I was saying, a couple notable guys caught a lap down because of that pit stop. Hunter Madalinas got caught a lap down. RJ Williams, Jake Miller, they got caught a lap down. I'm not sure what happened with Jake and RJ. I'm not sure if they may have gotten a black flag or something because they shouldn't have been that far back because they were our race leaders. So very interesting to see them both a lap down, but they're going to get their wave of rounds, but they're going to be both now outside of the top 20.
Kind of watching their laps now to try and figure out what had happened.
Yeah, because RJ and Jake have been the class of the field pretty much all day up until right before the cautions when Christopher Heller had taken the lead. But before that, it was Jake Miller leading the race and RJ Williams right behind him up until that point. And now they're both outside of the top 20, possibly the 2 strongest drivers here today. So it's going to be very interesting to see them come through the field in the number 4 and the number 21.
Those are some 2 fast cars right there, especially with them because Jake Miller had qualified on pole and RJ Williams had qualified in 3rd. So they clearly know how to wheel these trucks around this racetrack, and it's going to be real fun watching them weave their way through the field and try not to lose the front pack.
See, now I'm seeing in the chat, it looks like Jake Miller had put in the chat that he had gotten a little bit of damage as well. So during that whole exchange, Jake Miller had gotten himself a little bit of right side damage. Just had RJ Williams had also gotten right side damage. They both have right side damage now in their machines. So that might have been what had hampered Jake Miller. Maybe he had gotten into the wall and it cost him a good amount of time. I'm not sure why these 2 drivers have gotten caught a lap down, but now it's going to be real exciting to watch these 2 drivers drive through the field. Hunter Madalinas as well, because Hunter Madalinas got caught a lap down because he was one of those drivers that pit on that opening lap.
Yeah, that's the thing here is, like, even though he might have gotten just very minimal damage, it's going to affect him a ton because these straightaways are so long and you really just can't make up the time in the corners. These straightaways are so long that you don't have any turning to do, and any drag is just going to slow you down by 2, 3, 4 tenths even throughout a whole lap. So yeah, I kind of expected them to fix the damage. I was just surprised that they went a lap down because of it.
The reason I said that this changed everything, because it changed up a lot of the field. You still have Henderson and Heller up here in the front, but now behind you have Barkuski, you have Austin Moore behind him, Kyle Hall, Gavin Fitzgerald. It's really changed up the lineup, and it's also thrown fuel strategy straight out the window, because now they don't got to worry about fuel strategy. Everybody can make it on one more stop. It's just the question is, when are you going to make that stop? You want to pit a little bit earlier to get some fresher tires, or do you want to pit later in the run so you have fresher tires near the end of the race? Question is, will we even get more cautions? The Great Lakes Series cautions, breed cautions. There you look at the live point standings as we're approaching the playoffs very, very soon here in the Great Lakes Series. And right now, Aaron Duclos looks like he's the guy on the bubble right now. And here we are coming to the green flag this time by. The pace car is going to pull off, and we're going to go green flag once again. Green flag is out for Christopher Heller, and a good restart from him, and his teammate Brandon Barkuski looked ready in the number 42 machine as he's right behind him, 2511 Racing. And now on the outside, Henderson looks like he might have fallen into the third spot.
He's really battling for that position. He caught a hard side draft on the outside of Barkuski, but I don't think he's going to be able to. He looks like Barkuski can slip right up in front of him, and he will get single file now. The next battle's down. Caution's out.
Contact. Neiswanger in the inside wall. The number 49, and Shane Neiswanger did not need this. One of those drivers right around the bubble for the playoffs. We're just a couple of races away from the playoffs starting. Shane Neiswanger. This is really going to hurt his points.
We're interested to see what the victim is here, because this track does have a lot of space. In turn one, it seems to be a multi-groove kind of corner. It's very unique here at Pocono, so I'm interested to see how he got into this incident off the corner.
Yeah, you hate to see it. A very crazy restart from that. You're looking at the replay here. You see Ty Aiken on the inside. He gets loose, gets up into the side of Neiswanger, trying to save it. Very intense restart. Was 3 wide coming off of turn 1. And a lot of damage to that number 49 machine. Like I mentioned, right near that bubble, came into this race tied for 5th in points, but only around 30 points above the bubble coming into today. So this is really going to hurt him. Going to take another look at it here.
Yeah, that's just a tough incident right there. It's really unfortunate for Shane Neiswanger. Ty Aiken just kind of made a little bit of mistake coming out of the corner, got a little loose. It does get a little sketchy on the bottom of the racetrack over there, especially if you can't straighten the wheel out as much as you want. And it clearly got him loose, and he just wasn't able to save it in time to stay out of the way of Neiswanger.
I think the best thing for Neiswanger would just try to stay out there and get as many points as he can at this point. Because you have someone like William Barbagelato, who came into this race tied with in points, who's out of the race. So he needs to just be out there and get as many points as possible. We're going to send it to a real quick commercial break before we go green flag racing here once again here at Pocono Raceway.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and Teague. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you could only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine. Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and Teague. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you could only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
Hello and welcome back to Great Lakes action. Around halfway, and we're gonna go green flag racing this time by. Looks like Christopher Heller has chose the outside lane. His teammate Brandon Barkuski to the inside. Right behind Heller will be the number 91 Austin Moore, and then the inside of row 2 is going to be Eliot Henderson. So this should be an interesting restart. Austin Moore was able to get up here because of the caution coming out in the middle of pit stops. But Austin Moore, he's really good at this track, because looking at the last time they were here, Henderson won the race, but Austin Moore led a couple laps and he started on the pole and finished in the top 5. So Austin Moore, he could be a threat here today as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of order mix-up inside the top 10. I mean, 5 of the top 10 drivers, all behind Eliot Henderson to Matthew Durr, all started inside the 20s, and now they're up inside the top 10, racing for the lead positions.
We're going to go green flag racing once again, this time by as they come into turn 3. Heller is going to lead him to the green flag. I'm interested to see if him and Barkuski are actually going to race down the front stretch, or if there's some team strategy going on where Heller's probably going to just fall in right in front of Brandon Barkuski. Interested to see what happens on this restart as they come off turn 3, and the pace car is going to pull down pit road, and Heller is going to lead him to the green flag. The green flag comes out, and Heller is going to immediately jump down low in front of his teammate, Brandon Barkuski. And now there's a 3-wide battle, looks like, for the second spot, as Henderson had a great restart, and he's going to dive all the way down underneath Barkuski. Austin Moore is all the way up high. They're going to go 3-wide into the corner. Austin Moore backs out of it, and he's going to try to cross over down low. Caution's out again. Michael Sensi, Matt Daniels. Oh man, Matt Daniels with heavy damage. Michael Sensi was stuck in the wall. Heavy damage to that Walmart machine. I don't know if you can return that.
And that is tough for Michael Sensi. Very high up in the points standings, not too far away from the points lead. Now this is just going to hurt his entire night if he could still keep going.
We're going to try to get you the replay here of what happened on the incident. We're going to watch the restart from a full. You're looking at the Matt Daniels on the inside in that blue car. You see him in the middle of your screen in that blue machine. We're going to watch him go into the corner here and see what happens. Jake Miller on his inside. Heavy contact between him and Miller, and Matt Daniels goes around. Sensi just has nowhere to go. A lot of damage to these machines. By the way, got a war words on the chat over here. It's pretty intense stuff here at Pocono Raceway. Only halfway through. I've mentioned it here about the Great Lakes Series. Cautions breed cautions. We're going to have an onboard camera look of the number 4 machine of Jake Miller, and there's the track. Pocono is beautiful, isn't it? But just heavy contact. I don't see the need to battle that hard at the beginning of this run. It's definitely some intense battling between Miller and Daniels.
Jake Miller I'm surprised to even see him in that position. He got a really big jump on the restart to even pull it. I mean, he took it 4 wide into the corner and just kind of missed the yellow line a little bit and got into him. That's just unfortunate for Matt Daniels. It's tough to say because the two drivers were just so close to their respective lines, but if blame were to be picked, it might have been Jake Miller there, missing the bottom lane a little bit. and that seems to be the controversy over the radio right at the moment.
Definitely some heavy contact for Matt Daniels. You hate to see it. Matt Daniels has been very strong this season. Should have had a couple of top 10s already in this year, but just he's had a lot of just crap luck, I'd say. Very similar luck to Justin Mons, just been involved in a lot of incidents. And you hate to see it for Matt Daniels. He's currently on pit road just trying to get as many repairs as he can, trying to get as many points as he can out of this race, out of that number 25 machine.
I mean, this has been more of an endurance race than I expected it to be here, Kyle. I mean, this is Pocono Raceway. This isn't typically a track you look at and you say, man, these guys are going to have to survive the night. But so far, there's been quite a few trucks already heavily damaged or already taken out of this race so early into the event.
Here we are taking another look at the point standings coming into today. On the bubble is actually Hunter Brittle, who owns the tiebreaker actually with Aaron Duclos. So currently we have a tie for that bubble. Jake Miller is in currently via wins. He's in the 13th place in points, but he's automatically in because of victories in the number 4 machine. But it's a pretty tough battle at that bubble between Brittle and Duclos. They're tied at that bubble. Then you have Sean McLean, who's around 30 points outside. Then you have Bowen, who's around 60 points outside. 68 points out is Cremines. Gonzalez isn't too far back there. So for some of these drivers, I'd say Mons or maybe even Daniels, if he can get it together and try to get as many points as he can out of today, are still in the hunt when it comes to the playoffs. But it's going to be really difficult for those drivers to make it as they're so far back, being Bowen on back. McLean, I still think has a really good shot, only being 30 points outside.
Going to be a difficult battle here going into the playoffs, especially if we see any more drivers manage to nab some wins who are inside that top 20 but outside the bubble. That could really shift things up, as we still have a good number of races before the playoffs, and I was expecting Pocono to be one of these ones where you might see one of them, but a lot of the drivers that are very high in the points are already out of the race.
Yeah, after today, we only have 2 more races until the playoffs. So 3 races. We have today, then we have next week in Indianapolis, then we go to Chicagoland, and then we go to the playoffs. It should be a lot of fun. Interested to see if maybe some of these drivers who are outside the bubble can maybe snag a win. And that would really change up things a lot. But we're going to Green Flag Racing this time by once again. Pace car is going to pull off, and it looks like that this time Heller's decided on the inside lane because of his teammate Barkuski being in that 3rd spot. So we're going to see 25-11 in that 1st and 3rd spot, and I'm expecting some good timing from Barkuski, as there's probably some chatter on the radio between those two.
Seem to be pretty well coordinated so far in these restarts, as pretty much every time Heller's gone with Barkuski.
And Green Flag is back out here at Pocono Raceway. Christopher Heller and Brandon Barkuski get off to a good start. Can Barkuski clear Henderson going into... Oh, and there's a big wreck on the front stretch. Ty Aiken, Jake Miller, Ross Brockman looked like he was involved. RJ Williams, Anderson... Oh, Matt Daniels gets it again. Oh, they had to finish him. He's already dead. Oh, wow, that was a nasty accident. Couldn't tell exactly what started off, but it looked like maybe Ross Brockman had gotten into the back of Aiken and it caused a big accident. I don't know if there was a chain reaction that caused that, but there you see it. Jake Miller, your pole sitter, and he dominated the first portion of this race and got caught in the back of the pack. And his engine's up in smoke, and his day is over. RJ Williams as well in the number 21 machine. Both your the two fastest guys of the day, they're done, Alex. What do we do?
Their pit stop troubles earlier in the race really bit them, as the poor timing of the caution, the fact that they were lapped down, trapped them this far back in the pack. Cautions didn't really help them out either, and now it's finally come to an end. They've out of this race or severely damaged and unable to really continue at any good pace.
cautions breed cautions. I've said it here before in the Great Lakes Truck Series, but we're gonna take a look at this replay here of the incident. We're gonna take a look at the number 71 of Ty Aiken. You see him in that white and black machine right in front of Ross Brockman's purple and white Rowdy Energy machine. You're gonna watch the number 71 of Ty Aiken on this, and he just slows down. I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if maybe his wheel had shut off, or he had a Denny Hamlin moment where his daughter turned off the TV screen. I'm not sure what happened right there with Ty Aiken. But from what I thought, just from looking at the initial view, because it's hard to tell how big those gaps are, it looked like Brockman had gotten into the back of the 71, and he definitely did. But no fault of Ross Brockman, because he just had nowhere to go as Ty Aiken looked like a limp rag doll out there in the number 71 machine in a big accident.
We might have to check the onboard of the 71 of Ty Aiken, and I believe you'll find your solution to what caused this problem with that footage, because it's very clear what had happened from that point.
Yeah, you hate to see it. A lot of good cars taken out in that one. Here we are going to have the onboard of Ty Aiken here. We're going to see what happened with the number 71 machine.
Listen in very carefully. He just threw it into neutral while trying to shift up into fourth, and ended up not being able to catch a gear quick enough, and Ross Brockman didn't have enough time to react. Fortunate circumstances for the whole back half of the field. It's one of those things. Every now and then, especially guys with H pattern shifters, they might just miss the shift and knock it into neutral by accident. It's not typically something you see with paddle shifters, but with H pattern shifters, it happens every now and then, and that was one of those moments.
You hate to see it. A lot of destroyed race cars over that missed shift. You hate to see it. A lot of destroyed race cars out there, and these restarts just get so insane. Here, I think we're looking at RJ Williams is on board right now in the number 21 machine. He just has nowhere to go. Jake Miller just pops up, and that windshield deep machine is up in smoke. A lot of destroyed race cars. Man, oh man. Yeah, but those drivers are all really spread out. We're looking at Jake Miller here, but oh, big hit. That was a nasty hit into the wall. And you see him getting hit right there. That was RJ Williams getting into him. He almost went airborne right there. But as I was saying, these Pocono restarts just get so intense. Drivers drive 3-4 wide coming down the front stretch sometimes on these Pocono restarts. So it's really hard to see what's going on in front of you. And if there's an accident, everything gets real clustered real fast. And you saw it right there. One guy wrecking caused a whole bunch of drivers to get at least a little bit of damage. And a couple of those guys' days are over now.
Let's not forget this as well. These drivers have not gone a full lap green since our first caution that caused this all. These drivers haven't gotten much time on these tires, so their tires are still pretty much brand new, and I think a lot of guys are thinking about that, trying to take advantage of it while they still have it, diving 3-4 wide on the inside, trying to gain position while they still have the grip to do so. And it's just causing a lot of these incidents that we're seeing.
Yeah, you just hate to see it. It's very, very unfortunate, as Alex would say. It's very unfortunate. We're going to go green flag racing this time by once again. Let's see if we can make it a lap this time. That would be fantastic. Pace car is going to pull off this time. We're going to go green flag racing. We're going to have around 25 laps to go, a little over 25 laps to go. Can Heller hold off the field? These drivers are still going to have to pit one more time because they're right outside that window. Question is, at this point, if it goes green the rest of the way, when do you pit? Here comes the pace car off turn 3, and he's going to turn down pit road, and the green flag is out. It looked like Barkowski was more ready for the restart than Christopher Heller was, as they're going to be neck and neck coming across the line. This is the first time you've seen the teammates do this, be neck and neck, and now Barkowski's trying to block off Henderson. He's not going to be able to, and Henderson's going to make it 3 wide going into turn 1. What a battle. Henderson's going to send it in there, and Barkowski's going to slide up the track and lose the spot. And Henderson's going to come up in front of Heller and take the lead. Great job from the 0-3. Bobby Carter, new race leader.
Absolute power move by Eliot Henderson to take it, but Christopher Heller is not done yet. He's pulling back to the inside in the tunnel turn. He's going to be able to clear him coming off the corner. He's going to pinch it. He's going to get him. Eliot Henderson's power move is defeated, but he isn't over yet either. He's going once again for the lead.
And they're going back and forth like a boxing match right now. Henderson was able to clear him off turn 1, but Heller had a huge run off the turn and was able to get him into the tunnel turn. And now Henderson is fighting back here. Heller has now cleared him, coming down the front stretch. Can Henderson possibly get back to his bumper? But here comes Austin Moore now in the number 91 machine. Can he make a move on these? Oh, and Barkowski! He's spinning! Gavin Fitzgerald! Huge contact for Barkowski into the inside wall. And it's another race where Barkowski is not going to be able to get the victory. Barkowski needs that win to get into the playoffs. And his engine's up in smoke, and he's only going to have 2 more opportunities to get to victory lane now.
That was a big block that he pulled going down the front straightaway, and the block sadly had a driver already there, and he kind of turned himself across the nose. It's one of those racing deals. Big problems for Brandon Barkowski. He's got to win, and days like this is not him winning. And it also hurts Gavin Fitzgerald as well, who also is going to be looking for a win as he's having a good run tonight, but that's going to give him a little bit of damage as well.
Looking at Gavin's truck, he looks pretty good. I think Gavin can salvage what he has, and if he has to come down pit road, we're right at that pit window, so he'll probably have to come down pit road anyway to get fuel. Gonna look at the onboard here of Gavin Fitzgerald. He comes right to the inside of Barkowski, and Barkowski tries to come down, and it's just not quite clear. 2 drivers fighting for the same spot on the racetrack, and Brandon Barkowski's race goes up in smoke. Hate to see it. Brandon Barkowski was just up here fighting for the lead a moment ago, and now his race is over. A lot of our front runners are out of the race. Brandon Barkowski, just another one of those front runners that's out for the day. You're going to see another look here from above. You see Gavin go to the inside, and Barkowski tries to shut him down, but it just Gavin was already there, and heavy contact between those 2 drivers and a lot of damage to the 42. But like I said, I think Gavin made it away pretty good. I don't think he really has any damage to that number 14 machine from that incident.
Yeah, I'd say Gavin got away with that pretty scot-free. I'd say he pulled the move, he committed to it, even with Barkowski coming down, and he didn't get any damage out of it. So, I mean, if you're going to end up causing a wreck and a caution, that's probably the way to do it, because at least he didn't damage himself.
So now this is the time to watch. I think everybody's going to come down pit road because we're right at that fuel window. We're right at the mark. And Heller is going to come in. He's going to be the first to come in. And who's going to stay out? Kyle Hall. Kyle Hall stays out in the number 87 machine, but it looks like everybody else is going to come down. It looks like Brandon White has actually stayed out as well in the number 86 machine to get some track position. But this is going to be interesting now. Oh, whoa, almost some contact on pit road between Woodall and Kep. Just watching pit road, and they were able to keep it straight, but Woodall slammed on the brakes.
Very intrigued to try and figure out what the call is for Kyle Hall, because I mean, this is where the fuel window opens. They went a full fuel run, so every single driver knows what their fuel window is for tonight. No driver should really not understand what it is, and he's staying out. Maybe he's expecting more and more cautions. Maybe he's trying to plan on gambling on newer tires while everybody stays out and hoping to make up track position that way. It's a gamble. Maybe he just doesn't think he could outright beat these guys at the front of the field, and fair enough, if he's going to try and pull this strategy, it may as well work out for him.
With the timing of this caution and the fact that we've had so many cautions, a lot of different strategy on pit road, it looked like. First of all, you have Kyle Hall, who stayed out. You have Michael Sensi, who stayed out. But when you look at the drivers that came in, the first one out of pit road was Steve McLean, who only got gas. A lot of these drivers up at the front just got gas. Kevin Watler just got gas. DuPont, fuel only. Henderson, it looked like he had only gotten 2 tires. Duclos, he had gotten fuel only. Lawson had only gotten 2 tires, it looked like. Austin Moore had gotten 2 tires. Heller got 4 tires. So a lot of different strategies from these drivers up near the front. And this is going to really change up the lineup. Basically a randomized lineup. Like, this is what happens when you put your lineup on shuffle, is what just happened right now.
And the strategy comes from the fact that these drivers have only run 5 or 6 full green flag laps. They haven't run many laps on these tires. These tires are not very worn, and half of those laps are them just coming up to speed on the opening lap. So, yeah, you may say, oh, they're on fuel only, they're gonna not have tire, but most of them still do, just because of how many cautions we've had.
So it's going to be interesting to compare the tires here between McLean, Henderson, and Heller. McLean being taking no tires on that caution. Henderson took, I think, only right side tires, and then Heller took 4. So 3 different strategies right there, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Heller has fallen back to, it looks like he's in the 9th spot in the number 11 machine. Henderson is in the 5th spot. McLean was the first one out of pit road, and he's currently in the 2nd position as Kyle Hall stayed out in the number 87 machine, leads the field. Last came down pit road on lap number 23, so he will have to pit for gas. The number 87 of Kyle Hall will have to make at least 1 pit for fuel before this race is over with, but I think Kyle Hall is buying on some more cautions and hoping to keep this track position.
I am a little bit worried about the 2-tire call. These trucks do get very loose in the opening laps, especially right in the center to the exit. The exit of turn 4 turn 3, we're at Pocono. Turn 3 gets really loose. So Eliot Henderson is going to have to watch out. He's going to have more grip, but he's going to have to tiptoe it around this first lap or 2.
There you go, green flag racing this time by with just over 20 laps to go. They come off turn 3, and here comes the pace car coming down pit road. Kyle Hall is going to lead him to the green flag. And a good restart from Kyle Hall. He jumps out to around a car length advantage. Kevin Wattler and Steve McLean, they're going to battle it out for the 2nd spot going into turn 1, but Wattler's already cleared of McLean. And now here comes Henderson in the 03 machine. McLean might have some damage in that 37. He looks really slow here at the beginning of this run. He might have some damage from one of those previous incidents because he looks really slow. He's dropping back fast. That number 37 machine, you see him on the high side. And a great restart. Kyle Hall leads the field. Kevin Wattler right there behind him. Wattler and Kyle Hall. I've mentioned it. There's still a couple races left. Can some drivers that are outside the playoff bubble find their way to victory lane and get that win and you're in? And that would be the case for Wattler and Kyle Hall. These 2 drivers have to win their races to get in because they're both outside the playoffs. So question is, can they get the job done here today? Kyle Hall leads the field. Wattler's right there in 2nd, but Henderson's now charging up in 3rd. You see these big-time battles in the back. Christopher Heller is back here fighting. He hasn't made up any ground since the restart because it's just so many drivers around him. You see Daniel Nanny back here, Gavin Fitzgerald. Those top 3 guys have put a good distance between these drivers that are battling out really hard around the 10th spot. Heller's trying to get in front of DuPont. He's right behind Duclos. He's going to clear DuPont off the tunnel turn. And now Gavin Fitzgerald and Nanny. All these drivers battling back here with Lewis Woodall, Hunter Brittle, a lot of big-name drivers back here. Brittle's going to dive it to the inside and make it 3 wide going through turn 3. It's on the inside of Gavin Fitzgerald. He's going to be on the inside coming off the corner. He's going to fall in now behind Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald has a great run off the corner, and following him is Samuel Hoff. But now we have a battle for the 2nd spot. Here comes Eliot Henderson. Henderson, he's going to dive it on the inside of Kevin Wattler. He's gotten up to the top 2 drivers, and he's going to move himself into the 2nd spot. Henderson looking to make it 2 in a row at Pocono. I mentioned it before. He led over 20 laps and won the race last time they were here at Pocono in Season 3. Can he get the job done here today? He is now pressuring our race leader, Kyle Hall. He's going to get to the inside, coming off the tunnel turn. Can Kyle Hall hold him off? Kyle Hall's going to try to stick to his outside. Henderson, can he clear him? He will. And now Wattler. Wattler's going to try to make the pass. Wattler's all the way up high, almost getting into the door of the 87. But he's going to now fall in behind the 87 of Kyle Hall. Kyle Hall had a great run off the corner, and they continue to battle. Fourth on back. You see Heller is beginning to finally move up. He's up to the 5th spot as he gets past Ashton Lawson. And here you see Kyle Hall once again getting past Wattler, and these two exchange positions back and forth for that 2nd spot. And now Wattler. Now Wattler has the run. He's going to get underneath Kyle Hall. These guys keep on switching back and forth. 56, 87, 87, 56. Kevin Wattler jumps into the 2nd spot. Kyle Hall falls back to 3rd. Austin Moore and Christopher Heller are approaching these drivers really fast. The key for Eliot Henderson here is Kyle Hall and Wattler need to hold off Heller and Moore as long as they can. Because Heller and Moore are both faster than Henderson, but do they have enough time to get there? Can they get past Kyle Hall and Kevin Wattler as quick as they possibly can? Austin Moore tries to go low on Kyle Hall, but Kyle Hall blocks the move and now jumps down low on Kevin Wattler. Wattler and Kyle Hall are going to go back and forth for 2nd place once again. Huge run off the corner from Austin Moore, and he's going to dive down low of Kyle Hall, and now here comes Christopher Heller on the outside. He had a great run off the corner, and Heller might clear them both going into the tunnel turn. He's going to clear Kyle Hall, but Austin Moore is still on his inside. The two drivers with the freshest tires are in 3rd and 4th. Christopher Heller and Austin Moore on 4 fresh tires. And here comes Daniel Nanny, who's also on 4 fresh tires. He's going to dive it in hard to turn 3. He's underneath Austin Moore. Austin Moore really squeezing him down low. Moore's going to get the run off the corner and stay in the spot for now. But while this was going on, Kevin Wattler, he was able to put a little bit of distance between these drivers. And Kevin Wattler, he isn't that far behind Henderson, and they're running similar lap times. Kyle Hall is not giving up. He's on the older tires, and he needs to pit here soon, but he is not giving up in that number 87 machine. Trying to fight back with Daniel Nanny, but it's not going to work for now, as now Lewis Woodall, the number 13, approaches him for the 6th spot. And now Heller, he's going for the 2nd spot. He's going to dive it into the tunnel turn. Can he get past Kevin Wattler? He gets real loose. Sideways for the 11 machine. And Austin Moore is now going to get past him on the high side and clear him going into turn 3. Austin Moore is going to go underneath Wattler. Wattler versus Moore for the 2nd spot. Daniel Nanny is approaching this battle very quickly in the number 30 machine. Austin Moore is on the inside of the 56. Can Austin Moore make the pass on Wattler? Wattler is really holding these drivers up at this point. Almost contact on the front stretch. Heller's trying to make it 3 wide going into turn 1, but there's no space. Austin Moore is still on the inside of Wattler. Can he clear him? Austin Moore is going to clear Wattler going through turn 1. Now Heller will attack Wattler. Does Austin Moore have enough time to get to Eliot Henderson? He has 15 laps. Austin Moore has moved into the 2nd spot, but Nanny and Heller now battle it out for the 4th spot as Wattler is trying to hang on to 3rd. This is some insane racing we got right here. Daniel Nanny, he's moved into the 4th spot now. Can Daniel Nanny make the pass of Kevin Wattler? Kevin Wattler, surprisingly, has been very strong at the beginning portion of this run in the number 56 machine. He's been able to hold his position very well. Can he hold off Daniel Nanny? Daniel Nanny can get aggressive. So we're going to see what happens here with Nanny and the number 56. As Wattler looked like he tried to block the inside a little bit right there to the number 30 machine. He has a car length advantage over the number 30 of Daniel Nanny. The number 11 of Christopher Heller is right behind him. And Lewis Woodall in the 13 is beginning to close in on these drivers. Lewis Woodall in the number 13 machine. Here comes Nanny. Nanny's going to dive it into the tunnel turn. He's going to get on the inside of Wattler. Nanny versus Wattler. Can Nanny make the pass? All these drivers are beginning to drive up on Eliot Henderson, as Eliot Henderson's driving around 3/10 slower than Austin Moore right now. So this can get real insane here with almost 10 laps to go here at Pocono Raceway. Can Daniel Nanny get past the number 56? Daniel Nanny And the number 30 continues to battle. This is a great battle for this third spot. Heller is trying to find somewhere to go, but there's just nowhere to go. There's no space on the inside. There's no space on the outside. Nanny's going to complete the pass in turn 1. And now it's Heller's turn to try to get past Wattler once again. Heller has attempted to get past Wattler a couple of times. Has not been able to complete the pass. Wattler's going to hold the position for now, and we might have a battle for the lead here in a moment, as Austin Moore is now only 2 car lengths back of Eliot Henderson as he continues to run much quicker lap times than the 0-3 of Eliot Henderson. Alex, what do you think of what's going on here?
I'm thinking we're getting some fantastic green flag racing. Finally, they've done it. They've accomplished it as Christopher Heller takes another position. The mixed strategy is creating some very unique racing as every driver has their own situation they're trying to deal with. Heller just trying to drive as hard as possible to get to the front of the field. Henderson having to deal with the 2 tires. Austin Moore with that as well. And Wattler just trying to survive with the no tires. It's fantastic.
Yeah, this is definitely a great race right now. A lot of different strategies are among us right now and seeing what happens. But Austin Moore continues to close in on Eliot Henderson. He's within 1 car length at this point, coming through the tunnel turn. You see it on your screen. Can Austin Moore maybe steal a victory away from the 0-3 of Eliot Henderson? I've talked about the bubble battle, and Austin Moore is one of those drivers that could really use a win, as I don't think he's in that battle right now for the playoffs, Austin Moore. So he really needs a good finish here today. Number 91 of Austin Moore trying to get that win and you're in. But Daniel Nanny, he's driving up very fast on these drivers. That last time by, Nanny was 0.2 faster than Austin Moore. And then you have Christopher Heller, who was around 1/10 quicker than Daniel Nanny. So we can have a 4-driver battle for this win with 10 laps to go.
Now, wouldn't that be very special? A 4-way battle for the win. That would be an epic race, and I am excited to see it happen. With less than 10 laps to go, next time they cross the line, it's gonna get heated.
And this racing just keeps getting better and better as this race goes on. It looks like coming to 10 laps to go here at Pocono Raceway for the Patti Engineering 165. Race leader is Eliot Henderson. But these last couple of laps, Austin Moore seems to have fallen off a little bit. I think he just drove the truck a little bit too hard trying to get to Henderson, and the tires have fallen off a bit. And now Nanny's all over his bumper coming out of turn 1. And Heller's right there as well in the 4th spot.
Heller just hopes that these two are going to start battling, because if they start battling, that's going to give them ample opportunity to get right by him. And Eliot Henderson can't pull up very far because of him being the leader. He's got no draft to help drag him forward. He is the draft. Oh, that was close. Austin Moore got rear-ended by Daniel Nanny and almost got turned entering turn 3. That was really close.
Heavy contact between Nanny and Moore. Nanny, I've said it, he gets aggressive, and he is clearly faster than the number 91 right now, and he wants by. He wants to get to Henderson. He knows the laps are winding down, and contact going into 1. Look like Austin Moore turned into his door, and he turns into his door again. Heavy contact.
Some extremely tight racing on the racetrack. Nanny's going to clear him going onto the back straight, but I don't know if he's going to let it sit. They're all the way to the apron. Oh my God.
I don't like
this. Incredible. He rear ends him into the tunnel turn. He's having none of it. Here comes Heller.
Oh man, I've heard of intimidating someone when you get by, but I ain't never heard of that. Austin Moore really fighting harder than hard for that spot. And Christopher Heller, he's going to be the one that might end up with the spot, as now he gets to the inside of Nanny. And all of this has let Eliot Henderson just completely check out. So if Eliot Henderson wins this race, he needs to send a thank you letter, a thank you note, whatever he wants to the number 91 of Austin Moore. Oh, heavy contact between Heller and Nanny, and Heller's going to bump him going into the corner. Heavy contact. They're still hitting each other in the corner.
Guys, this isn't a demolition derby. Relax, you're at a 2.5-mile racetrack. These guys are driving incredibly hard, using every single bumper they've got going through these corners.
And the two drivers are marching up on these three, and that's Lewis Woodall and Gavin Fitzgerald. Heller has a decent amount of nose damage from a bump to the number 30 of Nanny. We're going to see how that affects him. I don't think it'll be too much to affect him as long as he can stay in the draft, but this is a 5-truck battle now for the second spot. I think the bigger question is, can all 5 of these drivers make it to the end without totaling their vehicle? Because the way they've been racing these last couple of laps, I don't know.
Well, the one person that doesn't care either way is going to be Eliot Henderson, because he's got a massive gap on these drivers. If they start totaling their trucks racing each other, as long as it doesn't bring out a caution, this is a given for Eliot to win this race.
Now Bobby Carter, Mr. Eliot Henderson, has a 2.5 gap over Daniel Nanny and Christopher Heller after all that intense battling. And the battling does continue as Heller dives to the inside of Nanny. Nanny gives him zero space, and Heller slides all the way up the racetrack, almost gets into Nanny and has to really back off. And now Austin Moore is going to get to his inside, and he's going to make the pass and get back into the 3rd position. And now things are going to get intense once again as Heller is going to be all over Moore's bumper coming off of this corner. Interested to see what happens goes into turn 1.
Drivers already congratulating Eliot on the win. It's not over yet, guys. You never know what could happen. Keep going.
Oh, I don't think it's over at all. The way these drivers have been racing, as long as they wreck on the racing surface, I think we're going to get another caution. They are racing very hard for the second spot right now. Nanny's trying to check out on these drivers, but Austin Moore and Heller continue to battle hard for the 3rd spot.
Yeah, Nanny and Heller have been extremely aggressive, with Austin Moore retaliating after getting moved out of the way by Nanny. Oh, there are 2 drivers in the wall, Austin Moore and Heller both in the wall. That's going to severely hurt them. Now Lewis Woodall, is he going to make a move? He's going to sit in line for now, but now these 2 drivers have significant right side damage. That's going to really affect them, as now Nanny's pulled out a gap on them, and now he's going to try and run down Eliot.
Oh, a heavy block from Austin Moore. That was a huge block on Woodall, and Woodall's going to dive down low in that RC Cola Chevrolet. Lewis Woodall in the number 13 machine. Can he get past Austin Moore? How much space is Moore going to be able to give the 13? He's going to fall in right behind him. He's going to be all over his bumper going through turn 1. And he's going to cross him over, actually, try to get to his inside coming off the corner. Austin Moore has been fighting really hard for these spots. He's been trying to keep as many spots as he can. But now here comes Gavin Fitzgerald in the number 14. He's going to get underneath Austin Moore now in the number 91.
Austin Moore's just going to back out and let him go. Gavin Fitzgerald's going to take the position. These 2 drivers are in significant pain now. Christopher Heller, he's going to lose his position soon, I imagine. I mean, his right front damage is extremely severe. You could see the top of the tire from the front end view of the car. This is going to slow him down a metric ton.
Yeah, it's definitely going to slow him down a bit. Heller, I think at this point he's just hoping for the checkered flag. But I'm looking at the lap times. This race isn't over yet. Nanny, he's catching Henderson. He's catching Henderson. He's catching him around 0.2 a lap. He continues to catch him 0.2 a lap. He's going to be right around his bumper on that final lap. I don't know if he'll be quite close enough to make a move, but if Henderson makes the slightest mistake, or if Nanny picks up his pace just the littlest bit, Nanny might be able to get there before we get to this checkered flag.
Well, he's got to get close enough to catch his draft. If he can catch his draft at just the right point, he may be able to make a move if he gains enough pace from it. But I don't know, with over a second, we'll see as they cross the line what the gap is after. But we'll see. He's got a gap of 1.1 seconds, so over a second gap behind Henderson. He's going to have to pick up his pace a little bit more, or hope that that draft helps him much more than it currently is, because I don't think he'll be able to catch him before the end of this race.
Woodall going to move into the 3rd spot. Lewis Woodall having a great run. Very impressive run from Lewis Woodall. He takes over the 3rd spot from Christopher Heller. Now Christopher Heller is going to fall into the clutches of the number 14 of Gavin Fitzgerald. Gavin Fitzgerald, he's had a very good day. He's trying to maximize his points today. Only a couple laps left to go. Only 3 to go. We're going to have 2 laps to go at the line this time. I think the biggest question is, do we make it to the white flag without a caution?
It's been a gamble tonight. These drivers have started off on a really good green flag run, then they had a lot of cautions back to back to back to back, but now that they're on a green flag run again, they seem to be running pretty good. Despite the aggression, they kept it going. Big battle in the back. That's Ashton Lawson. Samuel Hoff is getting backed out of the way. Daniel Nanny also we're hearing. Yeah, he's lost a lot of pace, Daniel Nanny. Daniel Nanny lost about 6/10 on Henderson that last time by. Now he's going to start getting into the clutches of Lewis Woodall. Lewis Woodall could pull off a second place finish here.
I don't know, and this also, I've mentioned it, a win and you're in. If Woodall can get himself in that second spot, something happens like a Kyle Larson incident where Henderson maybe blows his tire or something crazy happens on the last lap, Woodall can end up in victory lane, and that would put him in the playoffs. So this could be really big for Woodall if he can get past Nanny. He needs to get past Nanny first before he can even think about that. Lewis Woodall right on Daniel Nanny's bumper coming down the front stretch. He looks like he's going to have the run going into 1, but will he make the move into turn 1? He's right on his bumper, and he dives down low going into turn 1, maximizes his speed. And now here comes Gavin Fitzgerald as well, as he's going to try to make a move on Daniel Nanny as well. Woodall will clear him coming out of turn 1.
We're really close to Gavin Fitzgerald interview. He's this close to getting the top 3 finish. Daniel Nanny slowing up a lot. Lewis Woodall secures the second position. We may be able to see our broadcast partner, Gavin Fitzgerald, get into the podium. This could be a fantastic finish as they're heading into turn 3. Big block by Daniel Nanny. He's going to get to his inside, though. Gavin Fitzgerald, very low entry. This could hurt him. He's going to pinch it really low. It's going to get really tight. He looks like he's got better traction. I think he's going to get the 3rd position coming over the line.
And Eliot Henderson, he's going to win the Patti Engineering 165. A great performance from Bobby Carter, able to get the job done. They're wrecking across the line. Big accident. Austin Moore, Matthew Durr. Big wreck across the line. But Gavin Fitzgerald able to sneak into the top 3. Great job from him, and a close finish for that 3rd spot between him and Daniel Nanny. And Lewis Woodall. Oh my gosh, I'm very impressed by Lewis. Great job, Lewis. Great job, Lewis. 2nd place.
The showstopper, though, comes to Eliot Henderson with a great big gap at the finish. 2.7 seconds across the line as he gets pretty much dumped going into the tunnel turn. Just iRacing things. Eliot Henderson will pull off the win tonight. Lewis Woodall 2nd, Gavin Fitzgerald 3rd. That's a fantastic race we had at the end of the run.
And it looks like we had our 2nd straight race where the leader got wrecked in celebration, it looks like. Because it looked like Lewis Woodall was trying to give him a celebratory bump on the side, and he just turned Henderson around. If you remember on Thursday night when Eric Kepf won, he got wrecked after the checkered flag as well. So it's the 2nd straight race where the race winner has gotten wrecked after the checkered flag. You see the celebratory bumps still coming from drivers. Hunter Madalinas there, you see in the number 9 machine. Didn't talk about him all day. Faced a lot of issues today, and the number 9 machine was just never quite able to get to the front, unfortunately. But now you're going to see the 0-3 of Eliot Henderson, Mr. Bobby Carter, burn the house down as he gets the job done here in Pocono for the 2nd straight time. Wow. What a race. I'm going to give you a quick top 10 rundown before we try to do some interviews for you. Of course, Eliot Henderson, you see, is the winner. 2nd place. Lewis Woodall, 3rd place. Gavin Fitzgerald, 4th place. Daniel Nanny, 5th place. Christopher Heller, 6th place was Matthew Durr. 7th place was Austin Moore. Aaron Duclos coming home 8th. Hunter Brittle 9th. And then rounding out your top 10 is Ashton Lawson. Alex, what'd you think of the race here today?
Well, we had a fantastic, very clean first run. It gave all these drivers an opportunity to understand the fuel and work out their strategies. Caution comes out right as we get through the fuel window, and green flag pit stops. That just throws the race into complete chaos, turns it into a survival race, and those who were left made some great racing at the finish. That was just fantastic, if I say so myself.
Yeah, that sure was some fantastic racing, but I know we have some drivers to interview, Alex. Who are you going to start with?
Well, let's start with our broadcast partner, third place finisher. Let's drag in Gavin Fitzgerald. Hey, Gavin, what's up, man? You got
Not
a third
much,
place finish.
right? About time I got on the podium.
We're going to interview you, and it's not for a wreck. You did a great job, man.
Yeah, right? About time, you know. It's been a grind, especially this race.
Well, tell us a little bit what your race led up to. You started in the 21st position, kind of ran around the mid pack, had to avoid a lot of the chaos. Green flag pit stops kind of helped you get up in front before all the wrecking ensued in that caution fest. And you ended up having great battles with these guys to manage to nick out a third place finish in the last corner.
Yeah, it was tense there. You know, I was so focused on Lewis. Like Barb had obviously had issues, so he was spotting for me, and we were so focused on Lewis, and all I hear is Barb go in my ear. Why is Nanny so slow? And I look, and Nanny's in the wall like with damage, and I'm just like, oh great, like we've got a shot here at fourth. I didn't think that it was gonna be me and Lewis getting around him, but you know, Daniel put up a good fight, raced me clean at the end there, and just some beating and banging coming out of the last corner.
That was good stuff. It was a lot of beating and banging. You were right behind it watching it all happen. What do you think of the guys basically having a demolition derby right in front of you?
I mean, they'll probably say it wasn't so much fun, but you know, it was fun to watch from behind all of them. Yeah, to be honest with you, it was really scary a couple times. To be like, oh, they're gonna wreck, and they never actually did. But yeah, I guarantee you they had a ton of fun up there. I had a lot of fun for the, you know, when we were in a group before the yellow flag that we all came down. That group of, you know, Elliot, Austin, Chris, Brandon. I hate that for Brandon. I really do. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to turn him, but it was just a bad spot. But you know, Kyle Hall was up there too. That was a great group of guys we had up there. A lot of good battles going on, and even through the field, I heard it in the team comms. Like Eric was having a fun time. Like a lot of guys, a lot of battles through the field tonight.
It was a fantastic battle through the field. Now, after those green flag pit stops, you kind of ended up, I believe, in the 7th position, if I'm wrong. And you were kind of around that middle battle. Those top guys kind of pulled out a little bit away. But what do you think changed in the race that got you from being around that position to being up at the front of the field?
You know, I gotta think it was the tires. Obviously, a lot like Daniel hitting the wall, Brandon getting wrecked. You know, like I gotta think. Obviously, that had something to do with it. If Brandon doesn't wreck there, if me and Brandon don't get into it, I totally see Brandon on the podium. And if Chris and Nanny don't get into it, they're definitely on the podium too. But a lot of it had to come down to the tire saving. You know, just that's really what it was. I love Pocono. I love the 3 different corners. It just offers so many different spots for tire saving and you know, passing opportunities. And I could just feel it. Like I just got in a rhythm with the tires, and it just took off. And you know, I gotta chalk a lot of that up like to RJ and Eric and all of them, namely RJ with all the super late model stuff. You know, that taught me a lot about tire saving and everything. I have to chalk it up to most of them.
All right, Gavin, congratulations on the finish. We got to ask you the question that everybody's got to ask because we all love this question. Who do you have to thank?
You know, like I said, I got to thank RJ, Eric, Spectrum Racing, Barb, Anderson, Hunter, Bo Anderson. Just, you know, it wasn't the night that the team wanted, but you know, I think I forget where Eric finished, but I think, you know, for the most part, we salvaged out a pretty good finish. Giant Tiger for being on the truck every week. My parents, yeah, just TA Academy, Total Advantage Academy. Like I said, I learned a lot of the tire saving stuff from there. Yeah, just everyone. I really didn't expect to be on the podium today.
Well, congratulations, Gavin. Finally getting to talk to you in a good light today, and I'm very happy to do it, and I'm sure you're happy as well. So thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you guys for putting this on. I missed you guys up in the booth. I'll come around soon.
Let's hope so. Alrighty, let's get in our second place finisher. Another interesting finisher here tonight. We got Lewis Woodall, second position tonight. Started 15th, kind of got a little bit lucky with some strategy gambles. Survived the chaos that was the caution fest in the middle of the race, and you came out with a second place finish when the leaders starting beating and banging.
Well, we make our own luck in this, okay? I wasn't lucky. We make our own luck. No, yeah, I got really lucky. Yeah. Um, second
Wait,
place is good. I kind of wanted first because I know I'm really good at this racetrack. It's all about keeping it clean, keeping those low lines, trying to keep the tires from not fucking killing themselves.
yeah, well, you had a fantastic race. I mean, let alone the fact that yes, there were some guys that got some damage in front of you, which is what let you got to pass them. But on the other hand, you were ahead of pretty much everybody else except for those top few guys. You did a really good job of keeping yourself in position. And what was your strategy at the end of the race? Because whether it was two tires, no tires, what was your strategy there? And what was the plan going into that pit stop?
Uh, the plan was to take 4 and um be on better tires because I knew the tires weren't that one, but I tested out taking 2 tires in practice and wasn't the best. Like the handling got a bit whack and I didn't like it, so I decided to take 4. Um, and then I just managed to make some really clean overtakes, not use my stuff up getting past people. I then got to Heller, who was I think in third at the time, and I could see he was using his stuff up trying to get past Daniel. So um, I knew I was going to get past him as well. My aim was to just then finish third because uh, Elliot was 3 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds up the road. Daniel was second up the road once I got past Hella finally, which he helped me because he went into the wall. But you know, um, and then Daniel put it in the wall, so he just then gave me the spot as well. So fell
All right,
into my lap a little bit.
All right, well, you did a fantastic job. Now, the only other question I want to ask you before the most important one is,
Mm.
what was the tire wear like today? Because I was a bit curious. I feel like this is not a very high wear racetrack, but I want to know from your perspective what the tire wear was like tonight and how that really affected the truck on the long runs.
Um, the tire wear was not. I don't know what the percentages were because I wasn't checking, but I was going off feeling, and you could tell people were losing grip, but not like to the extent you'd get at like an Atlanta or a Darlington, where you lose a lot of tire life. But people were still using their stuff up, as I said, like Hella was doing, pushing through the corners too much, using those fronts up, using those rears up, trying to get the car rotated.
All right, well, we appreciate the input. Now we got to ask the all important question: who do you have to thank, sponsors, family, what have you?
Oh, I just gotta thank all the guys from Defiance, the guys from Spectrum who we work with, just my parents, my granddad who got me into Indy and NASCAR racing, and obviously you guys, the broadcasters, and obviously the management who run such a fantastic league.
All right, well, thank you, Lewis Woodall. Good job on the finish and congratulations.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Alrighty, now let's pull in our winner. We will have one more interview after this, so don't go scrambling off. But we're gonna grab our winner here, Eliot Henderson, our winner for tonight. 2.7 second gap to second place at the line. How'd you do it?
Well, I mean, I think I just did better on the restarts. I know Brandon's probably pissed about it when I hit him, but if you're gonna lay a whole car length back and try to time it like that, I'm sorry. I was pushing him up to Heller essentially. I didn't mean to hit him that hard, but I'm not just going to sit there and let you put me ultimately fifth in line when I'm supposed to be restarting third. Like I'm not going to sit there and do that. So I think that's ultimately what got it for me. And when I was able to get to the lead and just drive off there, they had to all kind of race each other. And then I'll be honest, I don't really remember what happened after that, whether there was a yellow. I think there probably was or something. But yeah, I think it's just the restarts really.
Yeah, the restarts looked very key, especially during that big caution stretch that we had in the middle. Now, how are you dealing with that? Because you were at the front of the field and really in contention for the lead during that whole segment. So, how are you handling those restarts?
Um, Painfully. I mean, it's insanely frustrating to deal with every. I mean, it was every other lap, man. I mean, we got maybe one lap in at one point. And I mean, it was fun up until then. I was scrapping with Brandon and Heller, and they were doing their stuff, and I was doing mine. Um, but yeah, you just kind of sit there and deal with it. The biggest thing is just hoping that you kind of get a benefit, like I ended up kind of making there with that three wide situation. And as soon as you have that opportunity, you just need to capitalize and not give up. And at the end of the day, that's what got it done for us.
Right now, I've got one more question. Very interesting one is you took a two tire gamble, I believe, on the last pit stop. Am I correct?
Absolutely not. I was questioning everybody's judgment call for that. I mean, I get it. Like, the left sides really weren't wearing, so it makes sense. And I didn't know if those guys had pitted previously to where like they they didn't have bad tires or anything. But between all the heat cycles, the many cautions and everything, I didn't I didn't wanna do that. I knew that we had worst case, we had, like, a 3rd place truck to maybe, like, Nanny and Chris. I didn't realize Nanny had that much speed, but I figured if he got up there that he'd be there. Um, so I just didn't wanna give up the track or I didn't care about the track position as much as just going off strategy at that point. And we only restarted, like, 6th or 5th there because of other issues, so, it really wasn't that much of a loss for us at all.
Well, then I think you need to give some congratulations to your pit crew to let you jump positions on a couple of your competitors during that pit stop. But we gotta ask, aside from your pit crew that did a great job tonight, who else do you have to thank?
I mean, as always, teammates, like, I never give Austin enough credit. I feel like he's kind of one of the guys. I mean, he definitely gave Nanny a big rock there, and I'm sure made it difficult for Heller and stuff. But, I'm not going to say Heller and Brandon were playing games because they weren't. They were just restarting. But, your teammates are going to be teammates if they want to be teammates. And that's what Austin was doing. I would have done the same for him. But it's just like so hard when you're behind someone to not wear out the tires because they're just pushing. So huge kudos to him. I mean, Nanny may have even caught me if he didn't catch the wall, but huge kudos to him for driving them hard, giving me a fighting chance up there. Ty, Shane, all the guys that come in from either cup side or truck side. Jake had a crap night again, unfortunately, but I know he'll get it turned around before the playoffs start here. He's got a couple weeks. And then all the guys who had busy days today couldn't make it. Pete, Michael, Tyler McClellan, Briar Fritz. Not going to forget him. He's going to come back next season. Love you, Briar. Hope you're feeling good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We won in the '03 truck, so we added Bransky to the team, and then I won in the '03 truck, and he hasn't won a truck race yet. So that's for Bransky too. And we'll see what else we can do with this '03. I love the 2511 guys, but I think getting away from 2511 is giving me a little bit more of a stride here. So we're going to keep running with this. We got 2 more races left in this truck this season, and we'll see what we can do with it.
All right, well, congratulations, Elliot, on the win. You had a very strong one tonight, and you did a good job. So thank you for coming in to talk to us.
Thank you guys. Thanks to the admins. Thanks to you guys who put on the broadcast. Can't wait to go back and watch it.
Thank you. Alrighty, now let's pull in one of a couple interesting people tonight. One that caused a lot of controversy at the end of the race with the very hard racing, created some chaos. We got some Austin Moore. Now, before we lead to the end of the race, we want to talk a little bit about your earlier race. You started in the 29th position.
Oh
How
yeah.
did you find your way up towards the front of the field come the first caution?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't intentional to start that far back. I was running at least pole time, and then I hit the wall twice in both my laps and fell to the back. But I got lucky on that green flag cycle that turned into a yellow. That kind of cycled me out to the top 5 for whatever reason. I must have timed it perfectly at that point. We weren't expecting that yellow, so I thought it was just the right move to make the pit stop. But luckily, I was able to put myself up near the front. I didn't have to battle too many people to get up there.
Now, you were a little bit displaced all of a sudden because suddenly you went from the 29th position to the 4th or 5th position, depending. Now, how were you dealing racing with those top guys at that point in the race?
Just getting up to the field wasn't as bad. It was just mainly everyone just kind of basically just countering everyone's mistakes and just trying to get underneath them and save the tires as much as I can, because you can burn them up as quick as anything. I mean, if you just run a certain line, if you run too hard, you can burn them up in a couple laps. So, I mean, running up there wasn't too bad. I didn't know what my speed was with everyone else because I wasn't really running competitive speed until maybe mid-race. So it was really hard to tell unless I got up to Eliot and the rest of them. But it looked like maybe would have had a run for the end of it, but I just burned off all my stuff.
All right, now we're gonna creep forward a little bit later in the race. We hit that green flag run at the end of the race. We got a restart done well, and everybody's going green, and then just chaotic racing ensues. Everybody's going back and forth, hitting each other. You were right in the middle of it with you, Daniel Nanny, Christopher Heller, all right in the middle of this brawl and bash. What was going on in your mind, and what you think was going around you?
Well, I mean, me and Elliot were kind of pulling away there, but we knew Nanny and Heller were definitely coming. Nanny was coming up pretty quick. I knew he was running pretty hot. I knew he wanted to get past me, but I just wasn't going to just give him that open spot. You know, if I let him out through the door, then I knew he would have passed me and Elliot for sure. But I wasn't intentionally blocking for sure. I know he shoved me in at 3. I was kind of riding him a little hard, but I mean, there's no hard, no foul on that one. We were just racing hard, and I know we were all kind of messing around near the bottom of the track, trying to block each other, get in the inside. We were just kind of messing around there, so definitely wasn't any hard feelings at all. I mean, that was pretty fun to be honest. So gotta mix it up a little bit at Pocono because it does get a little bit boring.
Alrighty, well, you still, even with all the messiness and all the damage that came from that, you still ended up with a 7th place finish. So, of course, because you're in the booth with us tonight, we got to ask you, who do you have to thank?
I just got to thank everyone at Split Second Esports for putting on the team. Eliot Henderson, of course, and thank my sponsor, Chicago Indoor Racing, Pepsi, Nikes, everybody, my friends and family, broadcast for putting this on. Appreciate you guys, and that's about it, man.
All right, well, thank you for coming in, Austin. We appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, have a good one.
All right, now let's get our final interview for tonight. The guy who kind of looked like he started off the chaos at the end of the run. We're going to be dragging in Daniel Nanny. Daniel Nanny started in the 12th position, had some great racing early on in the race. I'm not sure. Could you please tell us where you were after that initial pit caution flag after those green flag pit stops?
Well, I was on pit road when the caution came out, so unfortunately I ended up using a lot of track condition. I think I came on the pit road realistically, I think 7th place. So I was making some ground up during that first run, but unfortunately the caution came out and I went all the way back to 12th, so I had to make my way back through the field.
Well, you had to pass quite a few people today then. So tell us a little bit what you needed to do to try and pass people. What did you need to do to accomplish that?
Well, you have to get the run off the corner, which was pretty difficult when it was basically single file because you needed to draft, and if you try to pass in the bottom side, there's a good chance the outside would just, take off, and then the people behind you would get in front of you. So it was a big, it's a pretty big game of Ricks, if you can say.
Seemed like a risky game indeed, and it got a lot riskier at the end of the race. Tell us what was going through your head when you gave that first initial bump to Austin Moore to kind of move him out of the way. Was that intentional? Were you trying to move him, or was that just kind of a little bit, you got in there a little bit too hot?
What? It wasn't intentional by any means. I wasn't trying to send him into the corner. I didn't think I was right on his back bumper, and when he slowed down to go into the corner, I guess I didn't check up fast enough, so that was on my part. But I'm glad that he saved it. But on the other hand, going into turn one, well, I guess we made contact going into turn one, and the rest of it is just a big story because that allowed Eliot to get away from us, and well, I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, despite all that chaos while you were racing around it, you managed to make it through. You got yourself into the second position and you were starting to run down Eliot Henderson. And then just all of a sudden, we look at your gap and suddenly you've lost 6 tenths and now you're getting passed by everybody. What happened to you?
Well, I got tight going into the tunnel turn, and I smacked the wall like it was basically a rookie move that I pulled.
We heard from a previous interview that you had done that. Very unfortunate. Did you think you had a shot at catching Elliott at the end of the race there, or did you think that the gap was just a little bit too big?
I, you know, I didn't. I think I could have gotten around 3 to 4 times behind him, but I didn't think I would catch him to be in the position to make a pass on him. I mean, after that whole incident with Heller and the 91 truck, he pulled off to a 1.5-second lead, I believe, and that was a pretty big gap to run down in just a short amount of laps that we had left.
Well, either way, despite all of that, you may have painfully lost that third position at the end of the race, but we're still talking to you for a reason. You came away with a fourth place finish. You kept the thing together right at the line with the damaged truck. And is there anybody you have to thank for that?
Well, I have to thank DT Energy for letting my internet come on, you know, just right in time before the race started. And I have to thank my teammates at Defiance Racing for supporting me throughout the race. And I have to give a huge shout out to Lewis Woodall. He earned that second place finish, and I am very proud of him for just passing me the way how he did.
Everybody did a great job tonight. We had a great race. A bunch of diverse racing we had. We had green flag runs, we had a bunch of cautions, and then we had another fantastic green flag run with some rough and tumble racing at the finish. So we appreciate you coming in, Daniel, and maybe we'll talk to you next time in the top three or maybe even a winner.
Well, that's the goal. I am aiming for that second win of the season.
Well, we hope to see it, and we hope to talk to you then. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you guys so much.
Alrighty, that was a lot of interviews, but a lot of interesting words said from all these drivers tonight. Kyle, I think it's time we got to wrap up the show.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna give you some finishing results, but before we head out, of course, Eliot Henderson, you see, is the winner of tonight. Lewis Woodall comes home second. Fitzgerald comes home in the third spot. You have Nanny, Heller, Matthew Durr, Austin Moore, and that look at eighth and ninth. That's the real big key. Eighth and ninth, Aaron Duclos and Hunter Brittle. They were tied on the bubble coming into today's race. And now Aaron Duclos has that point advantage because he beat Brittle. So that's very, very big. And then Lawson coming up in the 10th spot. We'll go on to the next page of drivers. Of course, you have Samuel Hoff, a great performance, coming home in the 11th position. You have Eric Kep coming home 12th. You have Hunter Madalinas, aka Big Nine, right there. You see that Big Nine. Brandon White coming home 17th right there. Ross Brockman 19th. Michael Sensi comes home 20th. We'll go on to the next page, and we'll have one more page after that one. In the 21st spot, we have Justin Mons, Shane Neiswanger. He was able to come home 22nd. I said he needs to stay out and just try to get as many points as he can. That's what he did. Came home 22nd. Anderson Bowen back there. Barkuski, he had a really strong truck today. Possibly could have been a truck in victory lane. Comes home 24th. Of course, you have RJ Williams and Jake Miller, who dominated the beginning portion of this race, coming home 26th. And 27th, you have Ty Aiken, Ryan Potter, Matt Daniels. Then to round out the field, you have James Shiflett and then William Barbagelato, who blew his motor up on that very first lap to the inside wall, coming home in 32nd. Mr. Excitement. Not a very exciting day for him. Alex, any last thoughts on the race?
My last thoughts are, man, I love Pocono for a reason. That put on a good show tonight. Right at the finish, we had some fantastic racing, good variety. I love this place.
Definitely some great racing, but after today, we only have 2 more races until we go to the playoffs. Next week, we're at Indianapolis, and then the week after that, we're at Chicagoland, and then we go playoff racing. Then also in the Cup Series this Thursday, it's race number 2 of the season. We go to Charlotte for the Roval, so that should be a lot of fun. But once again, next week we go to Indianapolis as we have 2 more races until the playoffs, and that playoff bubble is super close as it's Brittle versus Duclos right now for that bubble battle. And we will see you then. And once again, thank you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast and have a great night, y'all. And once again, congratulations to the 03, Eliot Henderson, aka Bobby Carter, on getting the job done in Pocono.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.